Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
arrived. To demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Today is Wednesday, the 12th of March. So we have a moon sign in Leo. It transitioned there last night in about 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we're there today and tomorrow. So Leo's a fire sign. Fire sign is all about creativity. Fire also with Leo can be about the ego. We understand about how the lion can puff its chest out. But there's a lot of really good qualities about Leo the lion, which is about putting forth creative ideas, expressing the passion. The idea behind Leo is the right useness of the energy, of the creative energy, channeling it through our heart space. Okay, so we have Leo the lion, fire underneath and water on the outside. So just think how those two work. Put a pot of water on the stove, turn the fire up. Water can boil over. Water's emotions. Fire's ideas. If there's so many ideas, it can overwhelm the emotions. So these two things need to work in harmony so the water doesn't get dissipated or evaporated unless that is the intent. Okay, so the ideas and the emotions need to find a way to work together. And later this evening there is an aspect between Leo the lion, the moon, and here Uranus. Unexpected events, changes, sudden changes, surprises, things like this. So we should keep our open mind to see how our creativity might want to express itself, because these are the different things that come up when we kind of take ourselves away from what we expect to create and just sort of be open to what the project or the creation needs. Sometimes unexpected or surprising results come. So it's always good to keep open-minded there, okay? So that's what we're looking at later. The sky, we have an image here. Well, not yet. Still 8 days until spring, so Orion's belt isn't quite horizontal in the early evening, but it's getting there as Orion tips down towards the southwest for its seasonal decline and eventual departure. Okay, so that's what we're looking at today. The moon phase is 85% full, making its way up to the full moon. Almost there. 15% to go. The Mayan Oracle, we're at a 3-tone day, which is the electric tone of service. We're on the 3rd day of this wave spell, this theme of the monkey, which is all about magic and playfulness. So we're exploring the space that has to do with this idea of playfulness. The guide for today is the Earth. The kin for today is the Skywalker. So today is the 3 Skywalker guided by the Earth. Earth is navigation, synchronicity. Skywalker is exploration. And then, of course, our energies that surround us. We have the World Bridger. It's a like-minded energy, which is about understanding the lessons of life and death. The Night, which is our subconscious, abundance, dreams. That's our challenge for today, and our hidden power is the star, our ability to shine bright. Phrase for today is I activate in order to explore bonding wakefulness. I seal the output of space with the electric tone of service. I am guided by the power of navigation. We go over to here, and we can see we're still in the middle column. So I think this is an important period of time, always when we're in the middle pillar, because it's like being in the eye of the hurricane, so to speak. Everything is revolving around it. We can kind of see what's taking place, how it all comes together. At spaceweather.com, our solar wind is 255.6 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is in the quiet range between 1 and a 2. This is our coronal holes for today. Little one making its way across, big one across the bottom. M-class flare possibilities jumped up to 75%. X-class has gone up to 15. Geomagnetic storm activity is as it was yesterday. And our numerology for today is a 4. Numerology is a 4. 4s are disciplined, strong, stable, pragmatic, down-to-earth, reliable, dependable, hardworking, extracting, precise, methodical, conscientious, frugal, devoted, patriotic, and trustworthy. However, fours pay for their stability and their pragmatism by tending towards the boring side. This may express itself with a lack of imagination, emotions, empathy. Fours may not bother to put much care into their appearance, and their social awkwardness can make them seem vulgar, crude, or jealous. Let me show you how we arrived at this number 4 today. Right here, March 3, 12th. That's 1 plus a 2 is a 3, and then the year 2017. So altogether we have a 13. 1 plus 3 is a 4. Okay, using the process of theosophic subtraction to get down to one number. And then 4, as I just gave you some ideas of 4. This is the tarot card that represents 4. And it's just a representative, the Emperor, Hebrew letter Hey, he who sets in order. It's all about putting things into order. It's about action. Mars is the planet associated with this, which is why there's the color red around there. Aries is the astrological sign, the first sign of the zodiac. So 4s are not only about putting things in order, but they are also the pioneers, because they're organizing things. An organized mind, organizing things, is the beginning of an effort. You organize your ideas before you move forward on any occasion, anything you're going to do. And so therefore it's very important that we're able to organize. And once we can organize, we do put ourselves in that place where we are taking a leadership role because we understand how something is working. So organization and leadership go hand in hand. All right? Hand in hand. There you have it. That gets us started for today. UFO news is up next. Stay tuned.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. Here we have our sightings for today. The first one is a review of a sighting that we saw before. This is some better pictures, a little bit more up close. This was the one that was in Ukraine. Okay, this was the one that was on the MSN. A cigar-shaped UFO was spotted in the sky over Korosten, Ukraine on March 6th. What do you think of it? Camera effects, or is it the real thing? Now let's see here. I don't know why this is look, huge cigar. Video is no longer available. Okay, so I don't know that we have anything down here. Well, there's the same base. Okay, basically the same thing that we had. This was just a much better picture right here. So, saw the story over Ukraine. Do you think something else is going on there than what we're being told after hearing about all of the pyramids that are there and the findings? Pretty interesting, isn't it? All right, here we have over Oregon, a centerline illumination makes the flyover unique, although it still retains some similarities with other flyovers filmed in Oregon. All right, this is a pretty good shot. We've seen this one before. Really clear shots, definitely clear shots of the lights. So 2 minutes 45 seconds for the video. Okay. Moving on. We're going from here to Canada. The number of UFO sightings remains sky high, according to a study by a Canadian research organization based in Winnipeg. group released its analysis of more than 1,100 reports of UFOs in 2013 on Tuesday. Among its findings there were 1,180 UFO sightings reported in Canada in 2013, or about 3 each day. The number of cases in 2013 is the second highest number of UFO sightings recorded in Canada during the last 25 years. The 1,180 UFO cases reported in 2013 is much less than the peak year of 2012, where almost 2,000 reports were recorded. This was likely an anomaly due to many people who were excited about the so-called end of the world. In 2012, according to the Mayan calendar, reporting many lights and objects as UFOs. In 2013, Ontario had more than 40% of all Canadian UFO reports. In 2013, about 14% of all UFO reports were classified as unexplained. The typical UFO sighting in 2013 lasted approximately 13 minutes, and results of this study show that many people continue to report unusual objects in the sky, and some of these objects do not have obvious explanations. Many witnesses are pilots, police, and other individuals with reasonably good observing capabilities and good judgment. The report gives theories on why a number of sightings remain high. They include more UFOs are present and physically observable by witnesses. More secret or classified military exercise and overflights are occurring over populated areas. More people are unaware of the nature or conventional or natural object in the sky. More people are taking the time to observe their surroundings. More people are able to support their surroundings with easier access to the internet and portable technology, or even that the downturn in the economy is leading to an increased desire by some people to look skyward for assistance. The group stated in its release that the overall trend of increasingly yearly numbers of UFO reports suggests a need for further examination of the phenomenon by social, medical, and physical scientists. And here we have a link to it, the Canadian UFO report. All right, let's move on from Canada. Now, they just had the 23rd IUFO conference. It brought one of the best turnouts to date, and the array of varying topics from credible speakers garnered praise from the attendees. Here's a sample of the speakers from the event. This is a 14-minute piece. Let me just give you a little sample here of what this is. Alright, so see a little bit of the samples of who's there. George Nuri. You've certainly seen, let's see who we have here.
That are dripping with spiritual valence. You'll see quite frequently that the earthling says, they had eyes that just kind of looked right into my soul. Or Orfeo Angelucci and some others say, I think the space person.
To our own tents, we drew what we saw, and this is what we came up with. I was underneath the craft, Diane was to the side. Now these sketches were cleaned up by...
She is an abductee. She sought him out for help with her experiences. She has had a lot of owl experiences. In her abductees follows into his voice recorder to...
Just kind of...
This first happened to our planet. That's when you first had incandescent lighting on all your major cities. Phenomenon.
I'm just zipping through here a little bit, just kind of give you an idea of the variety of different speakers. I mean, I just
seem like we're
barely scratching the surface. So check it out. It's a 15-minute video, but really good. If you didn't get a chance to get over to that conference, it's a good chance to really see what was going on there. All right, here we have Richard Dolan, piece by Richard Dolan here. UFOs and 9/11, understanding the two greatest conspiracies of our time. Now this is a piece for you to watch. It's an hour and 37 minutes in length.
Now, okay.
Okay, let me just give you a little sample.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Conspiracy Conference, and our next speaker is Mr. Richard Dolan. And Richard will be presenting his lecture, UFOs and 9/11, Understanding the Two Greatest Conspiracy Theories of Our Time. A little background about Richard. He has a BA and an MA in history with interest in the Cold War, Soviet history, and international diplomacy. In 2000, he published what is to be the first of two parts, UFOs and a National Security State. He has been on many radio and TV programs, including Coast to Coast and Sci-Fi Investigates, and for the Sci-Fi Channel. Richard has been a featured speaker at many international conferences, local conferences, and plus he's a great guy. He has published numerous articles on anomalous phenomena, science, and the intelligence community. In 2003, he was a founding member of the Science and Society magazine Phenomena. In his lecture, UFOs and 9/11, he will be focusing on this. Most UFO researchers typically ignore the implications of 9/11, and most 9/11 researchers run fast and far from UFO believers. Many who believe in one don't believe in the other. Richard argues that both conspiracies are fundamentally true. That is, there is a significant historical covert footprint of covering up of UFO reality, and that 9/11 was an inside job. Is there a relationship between these two major conspiracies? Richard will argue that there is, starting with how both have helped to kill the traditional American republic. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Richard Dolan.
Thank you so very much, Ruben. It is a great, great pleasure to be here at this conference. Thank you all for showing up. I would like to thank Brian Hall for getting my participation in this conference. I'd like to thank Ruben and everybody else involved in organizing this conference, which I think has just been fabulous. I've spoken at more UFO conferences than I can remember. I have never spoken at a conspiracy conference. Now, when I go to a UFO conference, I'm typically known as one of the main conspiracy guys. But when I come here, I feel like I just got out of the minor leagues and I'm having my cup of coffee in the majors. UFO conferences are filled with some very engaging and brilliant people, very passionate people. You get that here at this conference with one difference, which is I think the people who attend conspiracy conference tend to be a little more pissed off about things than your UFO people. I can't say I would find fault with that position. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Let me one thing I just want to mention for any of you who may be following my own work. As Ruben pointed out, my background really is more academic than anything else. I was a PhD student, actually, in history at the University of Rochester many years ago, when I still thought I wanted to feed the machine. And then I got the UFO bug, 93, 94. I'll never forget this. I was with my wife in a bookstore, and I saw a copy of Timothy Good's very excellent book called Above Top Secret, the worldwide UFO cover-up, and I thought, wow. I'm studying Harry Truman and the birth of the CIA and the Cold War, thinking at that time that I was a pretty cutting-edge sort of guy. And here's a book that's got names of all the people that I'd been studying, departments that I'd been studying, and he's got them in this UFO cover-up context. And I thought, you know, we've all had this question before we achieved our enlightenment into the world of conspiracies. We've all wondered, I wonder if there's something to this. And so I thought I would take 2 or 3 months out of my life to look into this issue, since I was studying the period of the early Cold War formally, academically. And that was it. I've never left. I started out so conservatively, thinking, I just want to know one thing. Are UFOs real? I just wanted to know, is this a topic that our national security community is actually truly taken seriously? And if they ever did, why have I not read about it in any academic history book, even if it was a mistake?
All right, so I'm going to leave it there for you because there's a whole lot more to go. 1 hour and 37 minutes is the whole video. So check it out. Good information. Richard's an excellent speaker. And one last piece here. This is another documentary, but I'm just going to leave this one to you. The documentary itself, well, it's a 10-minute piece here, and then here's another piece. This is an hour and 32 minutes. This is the secret space program. And then here we have Donald Rumsfeld talking about, let me tell you what it says. Sometimes in life, very significant things happen, and because they are happening in the moment, you don't really understand the significance. Other times, very significant things happen or are said, and people either don't care or the media fails to report it in a meaningful way. In this video below, you will see Donald Rumsfeld tell the world that $2.3 trillion has gone missing. If anyone thinks government could not run a secret space program, then they need to think again. The second video below deals with that very topic. Peter Levenda is an author who focuses primarily on occult history. In this video, he talks about the secret space program, or the alternative space program being run by Jack Parsons and others as early as 1930s. And what is interesting is this information here of Donald Rumsfeld talking about the 2.3 trillion missing money, $2 trillion here. This was the day before 9/11 happened, and we're just listening to Richard Dolan talking about the connection between 9/11 and UFOs. And here's one little connection already, because now we are possibly connecting the money with the secret space program. So very interesting indeed. What will come of it, I don't know. Watch the video. Great documentaries, a lot of great information. I'll be back and we'll continue on with the show. Stay tuned. Here we go.
Another alien visitor claimed that his race had been looking in on us for centuries, and that they had in fact influenced the course of human history in some rather critical and startling ways.
Listen up. I am myself and I am someone else. Do you know what I mean? Wouldn't sound so crazy to you if you've seen what I've seen. Corridors of time, dimensions of space, traveling through the universe, from place to place. Don't arouse suspicion of a membrane gone insane. Everything is possible, just gotta see with an open mind. Winds of change are blowing through. Sounds are in the air. A distant voice calls to me. I hear it everywhere. Communication from beyond. A message for this world. Cosmic signals sent to Earth. Beep, 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 beep. Don't arouse suspicion of a membrane gone insane. Everything is possible, just gotta see with an open mind. Is anybody listening to what is being said? Perhaps it's quite important. This message in my head. Heed the call. Stand your ground. Trust yourself. My observation, that's my report. Don't arouse suspicion of a membrane gone insane. Everything is possible, just gotta see with an open mind.
Alrighty. Alrighty, I'm back. So, movies. Lots of movies out. So have you seen the movie Son of God? I haven't seen that yet. I want to go see that one. And then, of course, Noah. That should be very interesting when that comes out. That's in the next couple weeks. And now here's another one that was just made. This is Jesus' parable of the prodigal son has been made into a movie. Just in time for Father's Day, one of the greatest father-son stories ever told will be coming to the silver screen. In the Bible's book of Luke, chapter 15, Jesus told the parable of a son who demanded his inheritance from his father, then left home and squandered it all. The great twist of the tale is that when the boy comes home, the father runs and meets him with open arms and celebrates the son who was as dead, but now is alive. The father's reaction is so unexpected. In fact, the faithful older son is stunned by the father's forgiveness. Now the timeless tale is being told again. The same characters, the same moral, the same stunning forgiveness, but in modern setting that makes the parable immediately relevant to today's audiences. Debuting in theaters May 16th and on DVD June 3rd, A Long Way Off from the World Films, Prodigal Film and Uptone Pictures is more than entertainment, but a movie with a message. We made A Long Way Off to bring to remembrance the oft-forgotten fathers. Executive producer Gerald McLaughlin told WND, in a lost world that sometimes put youth on a pedestal, we must not forget that behind millions of successful young men and women is a loving father. It is our hope that by watching this movie, many estranged sons and daughters will do as their lead character ultimately does, return home to reconcile with both their earthly and heavenly father. There's no question Christian audiences watching A Long Way Off will recognize the familiar key elements of Jesus' parable, but that doesn't mean the movie is inherently religious or preachy. The story of the prodigal son is not unique to any religion. Producer and director Michael Davis told the Raleigh News and Observer, "I've always been drawn to the story because it's universal, and stories that are universal can appeal to many different people on many different levels. In fact, the slogan for the film is, 'We all know one, have been one, are waiting for one to come home.'" Fox News Channel and syndicated radio host Sean Hannity, who makes a brief appearance in the film, testifies, "We need great film, faith, and family films like A Long Way Off." Here we got a trailer to it. Continues, according to McLaughlin, the film release says right before Father's Day is particularly poignant. There have been countless studies that show having a loving father in a home provides children with far better shot at succeeding in life. Overflowing persons attest to the sad state of growing up without a father or being estranged from a father. We are releasing our film shortly before Father's Day with the hope that many will return home to their fathers. We hope many sons and daughters take their fathers to see this film. We hope many fathers will take their sons and daughters to see A Long Way Off. To that end, McLaughlin's Moving Vision is coordinating with churches across the country to conduct screenings in conjunction with theatrical release. Churches interested in hosting a screening should contact Moving Visions through its website. Alright, so interested audiences can learn more about it, and there's a link to their website. Click to it here, just show you where it goes. Okay. Alright, here we go. All about it. So, very good. I think it's awesome that these movies are being made now. You know, movies are very important. Movies are important, and stories we tell are important. If we're just telling stories about murder and mayhem and stuff like that and it doesn't have a point, then, you know, what's the point? It just kind of continues to express those things. Now, there's good and evil in the world. We know that. So when we hear stories that show us, you know, these stories of the classic battle of good and evil, those are things that we all deal with every day. So it's great to see the stories, to see how others dealt with them. Okay? Alright, this is a story of some newly found megalithic runes in the Russia contain the largest blocks of stone ever discovered. So we're just having all kind of discoveries these days, aren't we? An incredible discovery that was recently made in Russia threatens to shatter conventional theories about the history of the planet. On Mount Shoria in southern Siberia, researchers found an absolutely massive wall of granite stones. Some of these gigantic granite stones are estimated to weigh more than 3,000 tons And as you will see below, many of them were cut with flat surfaces, right angles, and sharp corners, noting that nothing of this magnitude has ever been discovered before. The largest stone found at the Megalithic ruins at Baalbek, Lebanon, is less than 1,500 tons. So how in the world does somebody cut 3,000-ton granite stones with extreme precision, transport them up the side of a mountain, and stack them 40 meters high? According to the commonly accepted version of history, it would be impossible for ancient humans with very limited technology to accomplish such a thing. Could it be possible that there is much more to history of this planet that we are being taught? For years, historians and archaeologists have absolutely marveled at the incredibly huge stones found at Baalbek. But some of the stories in Russian are reportedly more than twice the size. Needless to say, a lot of people are getting very excited about the discovery. The following comes from the Mysterious Universe article. It says, alternative history buffs are about to be whipped into a frenzy. Okay, maybe not, but they will find this interesting. An ancient supermegalithic site has been found in the Siberian mountains, found recently on Gornaya Shoria, Mount Shoria in southern Siberia. The site consists of huge blocks of stone which appear to be granite, with flat surfaces, right angles, and sharp corners. The blocks appear to be stacked almost in a manner of Cyclopean masonry, and well, they're enormous. Russia is no stranger to ancient megalithic sites like Arkham or Russia's Stonehenge and the Manpunur Formation, just to name a few. But the site at Sharia is unique in that if it's man-made, the blocks used are undoubtedly the largest ever worked by human hands. When I say that this is a new discovery, I'm not kidding. In fact, the very first expedition to study these stones happened just a few months ago. Prior to this expedition, there were no known photographs of these megalithic stones. Archaeologist John Jensen is mystified by these ancient ruins, and the following is an excerpt from a post. It says the supermegaliths were found in photographs for the first time by Georgy Sidorov on a recent expedition to the southern Siberian mountains. The following images are from the Valley Ural's Western website. There are no measurements given, but the scale depicted by the human figures, these megaliths are much larger, as much as 2 to 3 times larger than the largest known megaliths in the world. For example, the pregnant woman's stone of Baalbek, Lebanon, weighs in approximately 1,260 tons. Some of these megaliths could easily weigh upwards of 3,000 to 4,000 tons. Here's some pictures here. So you can see how large the stones are. Here's a person standing right there to get an idea of the way that they're cut. I mean, this is pretty amazing. You can see how high they are. So whoever created these obviously were pretty large. You know, we look at this and we think that these were maybe made with some special technology. Well, maybe they weren't built with a special technology. Maybe those who created them were just really huge. They wouldn't need special technology if they could just lift them by hand, right? Alright, so as long as we're on the topic of large stones, I figured might as well learn a little bit about Stonehenge today. So that's exactly what we're going to do. This first place here, Live Science, Stonehenge Facts and Theories about the Mysterious Monument. Stonehenge is an enigmatic prehistoric monument located on a chalky plain north of the modern day city of Salisbury, England. It was started 5,000 years ago and modified by ancient Britons over a period of 1,000 years. Its purpose continues to be a mystery. The biggest of its stones, known as sargents, are up to 30 feet or 9 meters tall and weigh 25 tons on average. It is widely believed that they were brought from Marlborough Downs, a distance of 20 miles to the north. Smaller stones, referred to as blue stones, they have a bluish tinge when wet or freshly broken, weigh up to 4 tons, and most of them appear to have come from the Preseli Hills in western Wales, a distance of 156 miles, or 250 kilometers. It's unknown how many people in antiquity moved them that far. Water transport was probably used for part of the journey. Recently, scientists have raised the possibility that during the last ice age, glaciers carried these bluestones closer to Stonehenge area than the monument's makers didn't have to move them all the way from Wales. Although construction of Stonehenge began about 5,000 years ago, the area appears to have been symbolic importance for a much longer period of time. As early as 10,500 years ago, there were 3 large pine posts, which were totem poles of sorts, erected at the site. Then around 5,500 years ago, 2 earthworks known as cursus monuments were erected, the longest of which ran for 1.8 miles. The purpose of these structures is unknown. The building of Stonehenge started about 5,000 years ago with the creation of an earthwork enclosure. The presence of post holes suggests that either bluestones or upright timber posts were propped up under the site. In addition, archaeologists have found numerous cremation burials dating to this time and the centuries that followed. Recent research suggests that up to 240 people were buried in the total, making Stonehenge the large Neolithic burial site in Britain. Around 4,600 years ago, construction ramped up with the erection of dozens of bluestones in a double circle at the site. The monument was not to last, and by 4,400 years ago it had been replaced by something far grander. The new structure had a series of sarsen stones erected in the shape of a horseshoe, with every pair being huge stones having a stone lintel connecting them. In turn, a ring of sarsens surrounding the horseshoes, their tops connecting to each other, giving the appearance of a giant interconnected stone circle surrounding the horseshoe. By 4,300 years ago, the monument had been expanded to include the addition of 2 large bluestone rings, one inside the horseshoe and another between the horseshoe and the outer layer of interconnected sarsen stones. This would be the end of major construction at Stonehenge. As time went on, the monument fell into neglect and disuse. Some of its stones fell over and others were taken away. There are numerous theories as to why Stonehenge was built. At the time it was made, people in the area were herders and farmers. They left no written records behind. An avenue connecting Stonehenge with the river Avon is aligned with the solstice. In addition, research at the ancient nearby settlement of Durrington Walls, a site that also contains a series of wooden pillars, shows that pigs at the site were slaughtered in December and January, suggesting that the winter solstice was marked at Stonehenge. The burials at Stonehenge offer another clue. Recent research indicates that the burials took place from the beginning around 5,000 years ago to its high point when the sarsen stones were set down. Among the burial goods is a mace head, an item historically associated with elite members of society. This discovery raises the question whether that people buried at the monument were local leaders and Stonehenge in some way commemorated them. One new theory of Stonehenge, released recently by members of the Stonehenge Riverside Project, is that Stonehenge marks the unification of Britain, a point where people across the island worked together and used a similar style of houses, pottery, and other items. It would explain why they were able to bring bluestones all the way from West Wales, and how the labor and resources for the construction were marshaled. In a news release, Professor Mike Parker Pearson of the University of Sheffield said that this was very different to the regionalism of previous centuries. Stonehenge itself was a massive undertaking, requiring the labor of thousands to move the stones from as far away as West Wales, shaping them and erecting them. Just the work itself, requiring everyone literally pull together, would have been an act of unification. Okay, and it's interesting that when it talks about the stones here right off the bat, it says that these stones 30 feet tall and 25 tons. Well, that's a big difference from the first stones where I told you they were up to 3,000 or 4,000 tons. Those are some big stones in comparison. Okay, just to give you an idea how large those are. All right, here's a little bit more about Stonehenge. This is stonehenge.co.uk, and it says, looking to find out about Stonehenge and other ancient Stonehenge sites and Stonehenge circles within Britain, or for practical information to make your visit easier. And we've got all this here. So everything you want to know about the tours to Stonehenge, where it was built, all this information on the visitors. There's some other sites around here: Wiltshire, Avebury, Britain. Alright, and then here's a little bit about Stonehenge. Estimated age 3100 BC. Location Wiltshire. Bluestone, Starstone, Welsh sandstones. Lunar and solar worship. Stonehenge was constructed in 3 phases, and estimated that the 3 phases of construction required more than 30 million hours of labor. Speculation onto the reason it was built ranged from human sacrifice to astronomy. And then here are some of the other ones around Avebury. Stonehenge is not the only ancient site in the area. 25 miles north of Stonehenge is Avebury complex, argued to be the most impressive of all remaining prehistoric earthworks in Europe. Goes back to the age of 2400 BC. Okay. So there you go. There's some information on Stonehenge. You can check it out, follow the links if you want to know more about it. But you say that the Druids were those involved with Stonehenge, so there's another course of study. Maybe we'll check out the Druids another day, see a little bit of what they were about, maybe find about their connection. Alright, let's move on from there. This is an article about herbal cures from around the world, from Natural News. So we start the whole thing off with cancer, since that's the biggest mystery on earth. Cancer, the 8th wonder of the world, or is it the 9th? Cancer, that disease, actually is disorder the cells where certain dying or chemicalized cells mutate and multiply uncontrollably, then attack your good cells. Scientists all over the world cannot figure out a vaccine or medicine to cure the problem, or can they? Then there's Alzheimer's disease. Again, not really a disease at all. It's not contagious, and you don't inherit either. So forget about that big lie. Yes, it's genetic, because your genes get screwed up and oxygen can't get to your brain. Can anyone say aluminum and lead in your food? Scientists certainly can't build the human brain, and they definitely can't take it apart to figure out what causes seniors to forget who their immediate family is and not know how to take care of themselves anymore. There's just no pharmaceutical cure for that. Dang it. After all, what's the pill made from that makes you stop eating heavy metals? Scientists around the world study arthritis too, and they design drugs in laboratories, much the same way that crystal meth heads make their drugs in RV labs. But they just can't seem to make a drug that makes all the inflammatory food in America disappear. Maybe someday they'll have their breakthrough without side effects. Everybody, lazy and uninformed people, want to eat anything they want to, anytime they want to, and as much as they want to, and to take a pill to make the pain and the fat go away. But it just doesn't work like that. You just can't sit around every day eating high fructose corn syrup byproducts, hormone-laden meat, pus milk, rennet cheese, GMO pesticide-laden gluten, bleached bread, and microwave dinners, and drinking fluoridated water, and expect to live past 50 or 60 without needing help walking, thinking, going to the bathroom, and feeding yourself. If you want to march for the cure for any other preventative diseases, take off your walking shoes and let your fingers do the walking. It's a snap. The internet is full of phenomenal herbal cures that come from nature and are pure. I beg you, if you are watching TV, turn it off. If you are reading the newspaper, put it in the fire pit and go wash the toxic ink off your fingertips. And then cancel the subscription right away. Mass media lies, period. Natural, indigenous, and organic cures have been worked for millennia. It's just that the Americans are simply never educated about them. Do you feel like avoiding cancer, Alzheimer's, and arthritis? Maybe you have some now and want to eliminate and prevent. Can't say cure or they put you in jail. Oh, but wait. This is just journalism, so we can type and print what we know, and natural news enthusiasts across the nation can tune into reality, longevity, and happiness. Here we go. All right, these are indigenous cures that have worked for centuries and even millennia. addressing cancer, immunity, and vitality. Got hemp seed oil, hemp protein, oil of oregano, spirulina and chlorella, cannabis sativa, maca and mucana, garlic cloves, licorice root, burdock root, medicinal mushrooms, and of course you got all the Chinese medicine. Traditional Chinese medicine compounds are extracted from natural products and herbs and foods as medicine and have been practiced for centuries in China, Korea, Japan, and other countries in Asia. Corylus versicolor, a common turkey tail mushroom, has 400 published studies, including long-term research and clinical trials that confirm its cancer-killing and anti-metastatic and immune-enhancing capabilities. Here we have natural nutritional therapies and remedy, inflammation, arthritis, and more. Got all these roots here, Chinese herbs, Yuan, burdock root, dandelion. We have aloe vera, one of the most common herbs and alternative medicine, great for sunburns, skin abrasions, and itchy joints. Boswellia, an anti-inflammatory herb, cat's claw, eucalyptus, ginger, a staple of alternative medicine cabinets, your spice rack. You should juice raw organic vegetables and include fresh organic ginger. Limited trials on humans exist in research, except for humans who have been using it for great health for a couple of thousand years. Green tea, thunder god vine. So a lot of great things out there. We don't have to rely upon the traditional ways and the medicines and all this and that. We can look to nature. Look to nature. God did some great things by providing us with things that could heal us. All we have to do is use them. Now, we often do take a lot of poisons in our body, and it's important that we are able to cleanse our body of these toxins, know how to do this to keep ourselves healthy, because we all do like to eat the bad things, and, if we do, let's figure out how to get rid of them. It says many people know that toxins are the root of many diseases, yet toxins also impact weight management. Excess toxins are stored in fatty tissue and accumulate in fat cells, adding to body mass. A healthy lifestyle helps prevent toxic overload. Avoiding and eliminating toxins isn't complicated. There are many natural, free, and inexpensive ways to detoxify and lose inches. Excess toxins are stored in fat cells. The more fat cells available, the greater the ability to retain toxins. Water-soluble toxins require water to break down. The presence triggers the brain to retain water. The presence of fat-soluble toxins prompts the brain to send signals to retain fat so the body can break these down. However, when there are more toxins in the body than it can process, water and fat are retained. Avoid non-organic and GMO food. Assume that non-organic produce and meat have been grown with pesticides and antibiotics. Use a vegetable wash on non-organic produce to remove toxic substance. Completely eliminate trans fats known as hydrogenated fat oils from your diet. This includes foods made with them. Toxic ingredients abound in beauty and household products. Get educated on common toxic ingredients in products used routinely. Become an avid label reader and eliminate products containing toxic ingredients. Throughout the United States, cities add noxious chemicals including chlorine and fluoride to drinking water. For children and the elderly, and particularly, these are especially harmful. Eat bioflavonoid-rich foods to delete the lymphatic system and make carrying toxic water to the liver easier. Citrus, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and spinach are all rich in bioflavonoids. Consume raw, unpasteurized, fermented foods. Pasteurized foods lack beneficial enzymes, yet raw foods are loaded with enzymes and aid digestion. Fermented foods like kimchi and sauerkraut restore food glory in the gut. Since the body cannot produce minerals, they must come from other sources. The standard American diet is vastly deficient in minerals, primarily as a result of commercially grown food. Large industrial farming practices deplete the soil of nutrients. Nutrient-deficient soil results in nutrient-deficient plants and animals. Minerals help with detoxification and help prevent toxic heavy metal stand-ins. Foods rich in minerals and vitamins include colorful fruits and vegetables and dark leafy greens. An easy habit to adopt is drinking lemon juice in water upon rising. Drink citrus water throughout the day as well, unless the citrus is organic. Be sure to wash the fruit before adding it to water with the skin on. Studies have shown that fruits are contaminated with bacteria picked up during the harvesting process. The calcium bentonite clay is safe and effective detoxifier. Mixed with water and drank, clay's negative ionic charge attracts positively charged ions. Bacteria, free radicals, parasites, and other toxins attached to and absorbed by the clay. Together, the clay and the toxins are then eliminated from the body. Since skin is the largest organ of the body, bathing in calcium bentonite can also help with detoxification. The skin is also important in helping the body to purge itself of toxins. By sloughing off dead skin and increasing circulation, dry skin brushing moves toxins through the body. This is accomplished by stimulating the lymphatic system, one of the body's key detoxification systems. Increasing fiber aids in detoxification. Fiber brushes the colon and absorbs bile, which is used by the liver to break down fat. Lacking fiber, bile is not absorbed and toxins are reabsorbed by tissue. Alright, so there's some good things. Very important that we know how to detoxify ourselves, especially with all the toxins that are taking place around us everywhere in the world. Alright? Alright. Let's go on to our message for today. This is message from Jesus. Here we go.
Jesus, peace enforced is not peace. It is but a temporary ceasefire.
March 5, 2014, by John Smallman.
The wonderfully empowering energy waves that you light bearers and way showers have been sharing and extending during these last few weeks are bearing beautiful and exotic fruit of an extremely sweet and uplifting nature. If you could see and appreciate what you are achieving in every moment, you would be dumbfounded. You all chose to incarnate at this point in humanity's evolution so that you could assist in the process of awakening, which you knew would be both demanding and stressful, and you are doing great work, just as you intended and planned. That you would not experience real knowledge or awareness of the task that you had undertaken as you struggled to play your parts was known to you before you incarnated, and you accepted it as an essential part of the divine plan. The part each one of you plays is absolutely essential and has to be spontaneous, an appropriate response to the situations in which you find yourselves moment by moment. Intuitively you always know what the appropriate response is. However, in the moment you have to make a choice based on the information presented in that moment, and because you are humans living in an illusory state, where nothing truly is as it seems, there is always room for error, and errors get made. By making errors you learn from your experiences, and it becomes apparent to you, if you are willing to see clearly what those errors show you, that love is always the only answer that will provide lasting resolution to any issues, problems, and conflicts that arise. Your history shows you very clearly that conflicts can never be resolved through force of arms. It has been tried, and tried, and tried, and it always leads to further conflict and suffering. Peace enforced is not peace, it is but a temporary ceasefire until the parties concerned are ready once more to go to war. There are now very few among you who have not become fully aware of this, even if all are not yet prepared to admit to the truth of it. Enthusiasm for war is declining rapidly, although it often seems to the few who are in positions to make the decisions to go to war that there are no alternatives. But without the enthusiastic support of their subordinates and all across the world, the decision makers are discovering, much to their chagrin, that support is not forthcoming. The decision to engage in war cannot be made, and so it is first delayed and then abandoned. The threats of potential conflict in various parts of the world that are being reported by the media are but ill-considered attempts to prepare people to accept that, in certain circumstances, war must be waged to ensure world peace and stability. But, because the collective has decided to awaken, the hollowness of that kind of argument is clearly seen, and those who consider themselves to be the guardians of world peace with the right and the power to take a nation to war will not be able to raise the necessary support to do so. There may well be lots of saber rattling as the politicians save face, but the time for war on earth is over. As you know, the new age of peace and abundance for all has arrived and is being established all across the world as you way-showers and light-bearers channel, extend, and share in and intensify the divine field of love in which all of creation has its eternal existence. For eons the love of God, your heavenly Father, has been dreamed of, hoped for, and prayed for, but always you were judging and condemning one another, and by so doing closing yourselves off to love. Love is all-inclusive, all-accepting, all-honoring, it has no room for judgment of any kind. Judgment is of the illusion and therefore unreal, but you have believed in it, believed that God judged, and have frequently taken it self-righteously on yourselves to judge others supposedly on his behalf. What unbelievable and insane arrogance! Within the illusion you made an image of God in your own human likeness. You have many paintings of an old wise-looking and bearded man, very human-looking because that was what you chose as a representation of God. No image could be further from the truth, because the God that you imagined and worshipped was one who bore grudges and sought vengeance on those whom you, on his behalf, judged unworthy of him. He was in fact utterly human, unreal, illusory. Finally, in these last few decades, the insanity of that kind of belief is becoming apparent to more and more of you as you move consistently and steadfastly towards awakening. You are being drawn onwards by the power of love to which you have finally started to open your hearts, and you have realized collectively that no image that any one of you could conceive of could give you even the remotest idea of what your Father might look like. He island. He is beyond description, he can only be experienced, and only by those who have discarded all within them that is unloving. And that experience, when it happens for you, will be one of infinite and utterly unimaginable ecstasy that continues eternally, brilliantly brighter than the brightness of all the stars in the universe combined. It is not to be experienced lightly or without enormous preparations that you start in on when you move permanently into the spiritual realms, leaving all form and matter way behind you. In the meantime, know that your awakening into love, into the spiritual realms, is far closer than you might think. Unfathomable joy will soon be yours because that is what you have chosen, and that is totally in alignment with God's will for you. And from there is no limit as you know yourselves once more as beings of infinite love. Your loving brother, Jesus.
Alright, very good message. Very good message indeed. That brings us to our meditation for today, so go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath and exhale. Take another deep breath and exhale again. Now the last 8 days have been the affirmation, that 8-day challenge. You can follow along with those affirmations. They're linked at the website. Today we're going to go over the affirmation from Agape. So just contemplate these words as you continue to breathe. God's will for my life releases me and sets me free. I am a grounding point for miraculous energy to express. My life is an adventure in spiritual growth and unfoldment. I am filled to overflowing with the good of God. High thoughts of health and beauty manifest as my body temple. Gratitude and appreciation lighten my path and show the way. And so it is. Amen. And just allow those words, these positive words, to make their way into your conscious mind so you understand them as truths of yourself. Truths of the abilities that you have to heal yourself simply by calling in the positive energies. Truths that you have the ability to manifest in your life that which you want simply by asking and believing. Truths that we are much bigger than we possibly imagine. And as we contemplate all of this, we find that we are able to look at life from a different perspective, from a perspective of possibilities. So we see the many, many possibilities in life. And we see that the possibilities simply require belief, faith, belief that we can do that which we want, and then the strength and courage to keep moving on that path day in and day out until we complete. So let us see ourselves moving along the path of life, persevering through the endeavors that we choose. Let's see ourselves happy because we are creating things in life. And let's just imagine sending love into the world and letting that love be enough. So as you go into the world today, let your subconscious mind just keep sending it out. And then let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. Thank you very much for being here today. I'll be back tomorrow. Have yourself a safe and awesome day. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.